Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Attack on Titan. Last time on Attack on Titan, we had Night of the Battle to Retake the Wall. Excuse me, that took me a second. It's actually been about 2 weeks since I recorded the last episode, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, so we basically had the calm before the storm, before the operation to retake Wall Maria and find the Jaeger cellar in Shiganshina. Where we basically had a nice a feast, basically. Eren and Jean got into a fight, and then they left, I guess. I guess it was just that. Yeah, they left. The scouts are on their way back to Shiganshina, where they are being awaited by Bertolt and Reina. And presumably also the Beastie Boy and Ymir as well. And then, in the end credits, we also got a nightmare vision of the future, of something happening, something crazy is going to happen that may put Levi at odds with Eren and Mikasa. We're not sure, but it was just all a giant tease and terrifying, to say the least. So yeah, that was basically that. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comments if you want to go, well, presumably you want to go check that out. So you can go watch that down there. So let's just go ahead and get right into this episode of Attack on Titan. Here we go. Okay. The battle at Shiganshina begins now. Oh, man. And that was terrifying. The Beastie Boy transformed them all. So that's his power. That's his power. It's not that he has injections or anything like that. At least as far as we know. I guess they could have all just lit up. But from what it seems like, that seems like his power. He can create titans. Oh, and we still don't know exactly where Bertolt is. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! We should, for our, wall boy. Alright. I'll sort of set this down real quick. Yes, this is going to be a drink of water, but that's all I got. This is what happens when I watch Attack on Titan in the afternoon. I don't have my Pepsi. Oh, hold up. Oh. Sorry, there was hairs on there. Ah. Okay, let's hold this over the floor or something. Okay. Why is it easier when I take a drink of Pepsi than take a drink of water? Now I gotta try. Okay. I don't know Wallboy's name. So, unfortunately, sorry, R.I.P. to Wallboy killed by Reina. Alrighty. Okay. Oh boy. So it's here. It's here. It's a fight. And now this is the first time any of them are seeing Beastie Boy, really. Well, other than the Castle crew from season 2, you know? Oh boy, oh boy. Maybe we'll learn things. I don't know, man. I feel like we can't kill Beastie Boy before we even know who he is, you know? I don't know how this battle is going to go down, you know? Alrighty. We don't even know, we haven't even seen Ymir. She should be there somewhere, you know? But we haven't even seen her. Haven't seen her since the end of season 2. Okay, so the first thing I wrote down in my notes was Moonlight Titans, which is what I'm going to be calling them, the Moon Boys. So that's an interesting thing that, since, again, back at the castle in season 2, we do have this sort of new type of Titan that can function during the night. And I like how Hanji says that it's not actually about the fact that they can function at night, but they can function on as little possible sunlight, basically. And the moon, barely gives off sunlight. It just, somewhat reflects the sunlight. And that's enough for those Moonlight Titans to survive. But they were using the light of the new moon in order to, or I guess maybe lack thereof, in order to get past them, which was pretty interesting. We had the whole thing about lost freedom. Aaron's whole thing about, he didn't think pretty much anything about the world beyond until Armin showed him the book and everything, which was interesting. And that created basically that deep-seated hatred of Titans, which is very interesting, It's very interesting that, now, because he knew how much had been taken from humanity, that's when he couldn't forgive them. And that whole scene was just really, really good. Oh, excuse me. That whole scene was really good for Aaron and everything. The whole thing of he's scared. It's interesting. He is trying to sort of brush it off, like, oh, I'm not scared, and it's like, well, it is okay to be scared. I know I kind of give Aaron a hard time sometimes, where he's like, oh, what if I can't do this? And I'm like, why are you still on this? But you do understand. The thing is, it is still very realistic that he just can't. He still has his doubts. He still doubts himself. He still is scared. And it is perfectly human for him to still be scared, Because a lot of things either rest on his shoulders or he thinks they do. And that puts a lot of pressure. And let's face it, he's still a boy, He's still a boy. Like, at this point, I would imagine he's somewhere around 16. Because you guys told me that, at least at the beginning of the show, I think they were all 15 technically, which I still find a little weird that, when we first saw them in... when we first saw them in Shiganshina, that means they were 10 years old. And then, when they joined the scouts, or not the scouts, when they joined the cadets, they were like 12. They didn't friggin' look like 12-year-olds. They looked like 15-year-olds. And then, now they all look like they should be like 18. But I think you guys told me that at least at the beginning of the series, pretty much everyone was about 15, but I think maybe someone said Rhina was actually supposed to be 17. So, and of course, this makes me, me with my eternal crushes on Mikasa and Historia makes that, 80,000 times more awkward. But it's anime, you kind of just can't avoid that. That doesn't make it better. Anyway, but yeah, the whole thing of, the lost freedom and stuff is like, yeah, and the whole thing of Aaron still being scared, it makes sense. He is still young, even if he's 15 or 16 at this point, he is still very young. And to have all of that, and that's the classic anime thing of all of this is being put on a teenager, all of this is being put on a teenager, not someone like Levi, who I think someone told me Levi is in his 30s, which I would believe. I'd probably say 20s or 30s, and same with like Commander Erwin or Hanji or any of them. They are definitely more adults than everyone else, but yeah, like the fact is he is still a boy. He is allowed to be scared, even though yes, sometimes I do sort of give him grief for that. It's like, oh, well, you're still scared. It's because it's the constant doubting of himself, And I think that's just sort of where maybe not the issue, but that's just sort of what I think about every time. It feels like every time we cut to Eren, it's him doubting himself, which is why last episode was great when, he got into that, stupid fight with Jean and stuff. Like, that was good because, like Armin said, it was him being feisty. It was him being his old self again. So yeah. But still, he is still a young boy, a young man. So, then we are here. We have returned to Shiganshina, which it's kind of interesting. It's like, oh, here we are, Shiganshina. And it's like, well, okay, other than the river, this looks like every other town we've been in for the past 3 seasons. I will say that is a little strange. Like, all right, here we are. And then, they start flying around and stuff. And Eren's like, all right, my house should be just over there. It's like, oh, okay, we're here already. Cool. That's great. I mean, that is great. But still, it's just kind of funny. But I did like the lead up to that where, Mikasa started recognizing where they were. And it's like, oh, I think we grabbed firewood here. It's like, I think I can hear the river from here. And then, they see, they go past the trees and just there it is. Like, yep, this is it. This is the town we were in episode 1. Just episode 1, really, because they pretty much got out of there after that first episode. So, oh boy, it's crazy. Eren did at least plug one side of the walls. However, that's the side Beastie Boy seems to be on. So it's possible that they will just bust through again. But that was pretty good. Again, I'm glad that these past 2 months, the 2-month time jump that we had from after Historia's coronation. I'm glad that they did the training. I wish we could have had maybe a bit more of a montage of it. Or something like that to really show how much he's improved. But I'm glad he has improved, and he's pretty much mastered his hardening ability now, which is good. Because, now that allows him to expertly plug up, it allows him to expertly plug up the wall, and he's not even tired, like transforming, using his hardening and getting out of there quickly. He's not even tired. He's ready for another fight pretty much. So I like that. But all of this was a little too easy, with no appearance of any of the enemy, not even any sort of just any Titans. It was all too easy and things were they were a bit tense. I love Armin getting a command. That was pretty cool. Now, I've seen how the character names are spelled, which is why it's like it's Reiner, but they say Reina, which I think some of you guys have told me like they lean more towards slightly more towards the German, like more German pronunciations of the names in this show, because this is very obviously some sort of, Central to Eastern Europe location for the walls. So a lot of our characters are sort of Eastern to Central European and have such names, with some exceptions, obviously, like Mikasa. But even Mikasa has the Ackerman name, But yeah, so I think, we have Reina instead of how it's spelled, which is Reiner. But I always thought it was just Armin Arlet, which I think they might have used to say, like, I don't know, like, they haven't said his name in a long time. But in this episode, Erwin, which that's another one, it's spelled Erwin, but it's pronounced Erwin, which actually, that one I'm totally fine with. So, but yeah, he pretty much says Armin, what was it? Oh, how did he pronounce it? It was like Arlert. It was like Arlert or something. Armin Arlet, which was interesting. So I do kind of like that. It's definitely interesting. I kind of like the, that sort of pronunciation. Now, granted, some of them, like, I'm pretty sure Eren Yeager is just Eren Yeager. Nobody really. I think, though, from what I can tell, there's like a different, like, sometimes it's spelled with a Y, sometimes it's spelled with a J. Now, I know, since we're on the topic of names, I do want to just point this out. I've heard that... I've heard basically people how can I put that? I guess these would be Subwatchers. I would assume these are people that watch the sub, which that's totally fine if you guys watch the sub. Obviously I'm watching the dub for reaction purposes. So this is nothing really against sub people. I just wanted to point this out. I've heard a lot of people who watch the sub say Mikasa instead of Mikasa. Is that right? I would love to hear if you guys, if any of you guys, if you watch the sub or not, or I guess if you read the manga, I suppose, if anyone pronounces it like that, because I remember I was watching a video, and every time I see like a video, I always like try to see like when it came out versus when the anime and stuff came out, so I can avoid spoilers at all costs, and so far it's worked, but pretty much the entire video, the guy was saying Mikasa, and it was kind of driving me insane because that didn't seem right, and I could go off on that because it's like, well, that shouldn't be how they would say it, because I used to say like Saitama instead of Saitama and Jotaro instead of Jotaro, so it should be Mikasa, not Mikasa. So I just thought, whatever. It's not important to this episode at all, and you're probably saying, hey, fat ass, stop talking about that and start talking about the episode, which is mean. You shouldn't be saying stuff like that. But it's just something I always like think about. It's like, no, it's Mikasa, and that sounds better, Mikasa. So, anyway. Do you say Hysteria? I don't think so. I think you say Historia. So, watch, you guys are going to tell me that is how you pronounce Historia. Anyway, Armin got command. That was really cool. I did like, he immediately was nervous about it, which makes sense. The boy's nervous about everything anyway. Then you add command on top of that. Of course the boy's going to be nervous about it. And you know what? We were saying it's like, Eren, he's a young man. Armin, yes, he is a young man, but he will always be our eternal boy. Like, there's just no doubt about it, and that's fine. And I'm not trying to like degrade that or degrade him or anything. He is a young man, but he is also our nice, sensitive boy. Of all of that, and you could even like go into like, oh well, is Connie a young man or is he a boy? He's kind of more on the boy side of things. Fucking Reina is a man. That dude is jacked as shit compared to the rest of these skinny fucks. He is jacked. And Erwin, obviously he is a man. Maybe not a young man anymore, but he is a man. And Bertold, I would also say that, but Armin will always sort of be our nice small boy. He's our small, cute, blonde boy, just as Historia is our small, cute, blonde girl. That's just that. So, I guess that does bring up the question, if we're talking about which ones are boys and which ones are men, you could honestly do the same thing with the ladies, is Historia a girl or is she a young woman? Well, now I'd say she's leaning more towards the young woman side. Now, after everything that's happened over the past 2 seasons, basically. But it's sort of the difference of like, when I guess back when she was still Krista versus Ymir. I'd put Ymir more towards the older, mature, woman side of that. Mikasa, you could probably go half and half. I might put her more towards woman just because of the, the insatiable bloodlust she has for everything. And then, like, obviously, Hanji, because she is an adult woman, would be woman. So, this has been an interesting topic of conversation. And it keeps distracting me from Armin having command. That was funny. I enjoyed that. And it was good. He did give orders. He did pull his weight, basically. So, I like that. And I love Erwin recognizing, like, okay, this kid is smart. This boy is smart. And he's our smart boy. So, we're gonna use his brains, so yeah. But forever, Armin will be our small, cute, blonde boy. I mean, let's just say it. He's very huggable, Like, you just want to like go up to him and you just want to hold him, And it's the exact same thing with with Historia, because they look exactly the fucking same, Because those two look exactly the fucking same, and the show knows it, which is why at the beginning of the season they use that to their advantage. So, the two of them look exactly the same, which makes my eternal crush on Historia a bit weird when it comes to Armin. You know what? I'll just say it. Maybe he's boy crush. Maybe he's boy crush of all of them, Of all the guys, if you're going to have a boy crush, Armin Arlet, Armin Arlert is a really good one to go for. Okay, I've been talking about this way too long. We did have the hiding spot, which was very interesting. It's possible that Bertolt isn't right there. He could be in another spot. We didn't see the two of them in the same shot, so he could be somewhere else within the wall. But they did find Rhina. I love immediately they see Rhina, Levi goes for the kill, and that's the thing, it's sort of the same when everything like was coming out about the two of them, and Mikasa went for the kill too. It's those Ackermans, man. The Ackermans go straight for the kill. But I love it, and I love Levi, yelling, Rhina! And then just going in and he stabbed him through the throat, and I think he stabbed him through the heart, and the bastard kept going, So, and that was enough because it didn't kill him, And that's the thing. They've said, like, Mikasa has said, like, oh, I should have, why didn't I, cut their heads off? Like, well, now we have to wonder, would cutting their heads off even work? I mean, it's the back of their neck, I suppose, but let's face it, Levi shoved a sword through Rhina's throat and it still worked, So, yeah, we're not really sure how to kill them, Although no, I was going to say because we killed Rod, we should be able to do the same with him, but that's different because he wasn't a hybrid. He wasn't a hybrid, so it was just the nape of the T-Rex that they needed to cut. Hybrids are different, so they need to work on that. So, little boy is now up, and he's transformed and he's ready to fight. And we also have Beastie Boy throwing a rock so they can't ride out of there and forming. It seems like it's his power to form new Titans, but I don't know. We're really not sure if it's that or if these are all like, I don't imagine they're also like all those were hybrids because they looked more just like normal Titans. Now, if they are more normal Titans, it does beg the question, could Eren control them? Possibly. I think that'll be the next thing Eren needs to do because he is the coordinate. He is, I guess, the founding Titan. Maybe he will be able to control the Beastie Boys' Titans. He can't control them. He can't control hybrids, which is what we saw that basically at the end of season 2. Like, yes, the three others, Rhina, Bertolt, and Ymir, they could all feel, they could all sense basically Eren's power, but they weren't controlled by it. So, but it's possible that even though we have seen the Beastie Boy controlling Titans and giving commands, it's possible that perhaps they will also listen. Oh, it's like How to Train Your Dragon. It's like it's the clash of the two alpha Titans, the Beastie Boy versus Buffered Sea Titan. Oh, that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for, man. And yeah, that's basically it. This was a bit of a long discussion when it didn't need to be. We're talking about, German names and boys we want to hug. So, yeah. But still, we got to the point, and we're very hyped for the next episode. You know what? For the 50th episode of Attack on Titan, that was a damn good 50th episode. And at this point, we've probably been going for about a year because, this hasn't been a consecutive 50 weeks of Attack on Titan. Obviously, even recently, I've had to take like a week off. So we've probably already passed the 1 year mark on watching Attack on Titan here on the channel. So that's pretty great. We've been watching this for a year, man. And this has been really fun. And it's interesting because it's like, it doesn't feel like it's been a year, does it? Like, it feels like, which is interesting because we've had more episodes than Death Note, which is the series that I watched before Attack on Titan. And that was 37 episodes. We've watched 50 episodes, and it does not feel as long as the 37 episodes of Death Note, So, I don't know. It's just all pretty interesting. But yeah, we've been going for a year, and we've probably still got a good ways to go. I think by my calculations, that sounds too official, but I think we've still got, this latter half of season 3 and then season 4, which I think will be about the same length. So, we may be able to finish it up before year's end, but we'll have to see. Of course, you know, I kind of don't want to because I do love Attack on Titan, so yeah. But that's basically it. No need to drag this out any further. Yeah, I'm excited to see where we're going at the Battle of Shiganshina. So yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Attack on Titan reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure to hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon, you can follow me on social media, links below in the description. I got a burp, I'm sorry. Or you can click on this other video or playlist or whatever is over here and watch something else of mine if you are so inclined. See you guys later.